students, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to discuss about one of the very important and interesting concept. Okay, so that is about the transcription. Okay, so in last video you studied about the process of DNA replication, isn't it? See, in central dogma of molecular biology, so you know that the unidirectional flow of information from DNA to mRNA and from mRNA to protein, isn't it? So, and the DNA is able to synthesize its own copies. Okay, so where we have completed one, that is the process of replication, isn't it? So that is especially about the semi-conservative method of DNA replication. Okay, so where the synthesis of mRNA from DNA, that is what is called as the transcription. That process is what is called as transcription. It is nothing but the process of synthesis of mRNA or the formation of mRNA from DNA or formation of RNA from DNA is what is called as a transcription. And where an mRNA molecule that is decoded into a polypeptide chain or a protein molecule, and that process is what is called as the translation. That process is what is regarded as the translation. Okay, so there are three very important mechanisms in central dogma of molecular biology. One is a DNA replication. One is replication. This is very important process. DNA replication. Then transcription. The second one is transcription, and the third one is translation. Okay, so where the information which is found on the DNA, the genetic information, especially the information which is required for the synthesis of a protein molecule that is found in the DNA in the form of the nucleotides, that get copied or that get transferred into another molecule, that is what is called as a RNA, because DNA cannot go outside the nucleus and it cannot able to synthesize the protein synthesis directly, but indirectly DNA that's regulates the protein synthesis, that directs the protein synthesis indirectly, that is through the formation of another intermediate molecule, that is what is called as the RNA. So between the DNA and the protein there is an intermediate molecule, that is nothing but the RNA, that will carry the message for the protein synthesis. So whatever the nucleotide bases or the sequences which are found on the DNA, they get copied into an mRNA molecule, and that process is what is called as a transcription. And from the mRNA molecule, according to the messages which are found on the mRNA, according to the bases which are found on the mRNA, the tRNA that brings the corresponding amino acids, and all those amino acids they bonded together by means of peptide bond and forming a long polypeptide chain, that is nothing but the protein is synthesized. And it is directed by the DNA. The synthesis of protein is directed by the DNA, that is through the RNA molecule. Okay, and that step is what is called as a transcription. And transcription is considered as the first step of gene expression. Okay, because the gene is expressed here, where especially the coding sequences on the DNA, where what is called as the exons, the coding sequences on the DNA are the euchromatin. So where that is synthesizes an mRNA molecule. Okay, and that's why that is the first step in gene expression. So once a DNA or a gene that produces an mRNA molecule, that is said to be expressed. This is the first step in gene expression. And the second step is the translation. That is nothing but the synthesis of a protein molecule. Okay, so let us begin with the first one, that is about the process of transcription. Okay, see, transcription is a process of formation of RNA molecule, especially an mRNA from DNA, is what is called as the transcription. The synthesis of RNA, synthesis, it is biosynthesis. The biosynthesis of RNA from DNA. The biosynthesis of RNA from DNA is what is called as transcription. The biosynthesis of RNA from DNA is called as transcription. So we know that DNA is a double-stranded molecule, isn't it? So where it is made up of two strands and which are complementary to each other. The two strands which are found in the DNA, which are complementary to each other, and it is a double-stranded molecule. Okay, out of two strands, as I said in the earlier video, one of the strand is said to be the sense strand or the coding strand. The sense strand or the coding strand. Okay, and that recites the genetic information. That stores the genetic information. The sense strand or the coding strand, that will store the genetic information. Whereas the complementary strand for this one is the anti-sense strand. The complementary strand is anti-sense strand. Okay. This is a complementary strand. And the anti-strand, which is exactly that is complementary to the sense strand or the coding strand. See here, out of the two strands of DNA, one of the strand of the DNA that is involved in the process of transcription, and that can act as a template. See, there are some contrast between the DNA replication as well as the transcription. The major difference is, whereas in DNA replication, both of the strands of the DNA which are involved in the synthesis of new daughter DNA molecules. But here, only one of the DNA strand is involved. That is the antisense strand of the DNA. Out of two strands, one strand is involved in the synthesis of an mRNA. That is, it can act as a template strand, and that strand is what is called as an antisense strand. Because the mRNA, suppose if this strand acts as a template for the synthesis of mRNA, the mRNA will be exactly similar to what is called as a coding strand or the sense strand. Suppose if the coding strand can act as a template for the synthesis of an mRNA, then mRNA will be similar to the antisense strand. Then no protein comes from the antisense strand, or mainly because the sense strand that stores a genetic information. It means the information which is necessary for the synthesis of a protein molecule that is found inside, or that is found in the coding strand or the sense strand. But whereas the antisense strand, which is complementary to that one. That's why always the antisense strand that codes for the synthesis of an RNA molecule, or that act as a template for transcription, the process of transcription. Then what is transcription? Transcription is a process of synthesis of RNA, or copying of information present on the DNA into an RNA molecule. Okay, or production of RNA, or formation of RNA, or biosynthesis of RNA from DNA. That is what is called as a transcription, and it is the first step in gene regulation. Okay, so this is the basic idea, where the antisense strand that is coding for the synthesis of, or that can act as a template for the synthesis of an mRNA molecule. Okay, see, the process of transcription that takes place in three major steps. Okay, so those major steps are considered as, they were known as initiation, then elongation, initiation, elongation, and termination. There are three major steps can be seen in the process of transcription, or the process transcription is divided into three phases like initiation, elongation, and termination. So overall, what happens in a transcription? See, during the transcription, a major enzyme, what is called as RNA polymerase, that will binds to specific sites on the DNA. Okay, so whereby it initiates the transcription process, where DNA molecule get unwinded. I will explain. Okay, DNA molecule get unwinded, then the new ribonucleotides will get added, and a long chain of RNA is synthesized, where that RNA polymerase enzyme that moves along the DNA and reaches specific sites on the DNA. Those sites are what is called as terminator sites. Okay, there the RNA synthesis that will be stopped. Okay, so like this the process of transcription takes place, where recognition of some specific sites by RNA polymerase enzyme, that is a major enzyme required for the synthesis of RNA, and thereby causes the unwinding of the DNA. It means it opens up the DNA for the synthesis of a new strand of RNA on an antisense strand. Okay, thereby the ribonucleotides will get added. Thereafter it reaches the terminator sites, then the synthesis of RNA that will be stopped, and RNA is get released by the DNA strands. So this is the process. Okay, so the transcription, as I said, it is divided into three major phases like the initiation, elongation, and termination. See, always the synthesis of RNA that takes place in 5' to 3' direction. Always. It is similar to the process of replication. As replication that runs in 5' to 3' direction, no? Similarly, the synthesis of RNA that also runs in 5' to 3' direction on a template strand that is 3' to 5'. This is a template strand. Template here nothing but the antisense strand. Okay. On a template strand, what is called as 3' to 5', this is a template strand on which the synthesis of mRNA that runs in 5' to 3' direction. Okay. And another thing, the transcription is an unidirectional process. It is not bidirectional like DNA replication. Here it is and unidirectional, because not both the strands are involved in transcription, only one strand is involved in the process of transcription. Hence, transcription is an unidirectional process. And always the synthesis of mRNA that takes place in 5' to 3' direction. Okay. And the major enzyme which is required for the process of transcription, it is DNA dependent RNA polymerase. The major enzyme which is required here, that is DNA dependent RNA polymerase. So this is an enzyme which is required to carry out the transcription process. And also there are several proteins which are also required, like TBP, that is Tata box binding protein. Okay, TBP, Tata box binding protein, then transcription factors, then sigma factors, then terminating factors, okay, then RHO, Rho factor. So there are several proteins and enzymes which are involved in the process of transcription. Okay, as this is one of the complex process, so there are lots of molecules which are involved in the synthesis of an mRNA, and even after the formation of mRNA, especially in case of eukaryotes, there is a mechanism what is called as RNA modification or post-transcriptional changes that is observed in eukaryotes, where there are several changes that takes place, like at the 3' end there will be an addition of methyl guanosine and addition of polyatyl, removal of introns. All those mechanisms which takes place, especially in eukaryotes. Okay, so but there are major molecules which are involved in the process of transcription, like DNA dependent RNA polymerase, that is a major enzyme that will carry the process of transcription. So then Tata box binding proteins, so I will explain what is this. Then terminating factor, sigma factor, then some transcriptional factors and Rho factors. So all these molecules which are necessary for the formation of an mRNA molecule. Okay. So before explaining the actual steps, the initiation, elongation and termination, we should know like the basic concept. Some here, see, this is a DNA molecule, no? The two strands of the DNA. Okay, the two strands of DNA, among that one is the coding strand and another one is, this one as a coding strand. Okay, and another one is the antisense strand. Antisense strand. Okay, and there are two major regions can be observed in the DNA. So one is the promoter region. There are two major regions can be observed in the DNA. One is the promoter region and another one is the terminator region. One is the promoter and another one is the terminator region. Okay, so these two regions are very important here. One is promoter and another one is the terminator. Okay, so this is what is called as the transcription unit. This is regarded as a transcription unit. Suppose we write the 5', again 3' and 5'. Okay, so this 3' to 5' strand of the DNA, that is acting as a template. This acts as a template. This is a template strand. And synthesis of mRNA, that takes place in the direction. What direction? That is in 5' to 3' direction. Okay, it takes place like this, in 5' to 3' direction, and this is what is called as the transcription unit. So transcription unit that comprises the two strands of the DNA, especially the template strand of the DNA and the regions like promoter. This is what is called as the promoter, and this is what is called as the terminator region. This is the terminator region. Okay, so where this strand that is 3' to 5' strand, that can act as a template. Okay, on which the RNA synthesis that takes place in 5' to 3' direction. Okay, and this is what is called as a transcription unit. The transcription unit that consists of the coding region as well as the antisense strand of the DNA and majorly the promoter site and the terminator site. Okay, all together constitutes the transcription unit. Okay, so what is this promoter? See, promoter is a site, a specific sites on the DNA that provides the site for the binding of RNA polymerase enzyme. This is a major site on the DNA that majorly initiates the process of transcription, because RNA polymerase enzyme that binds to the promoter, thereby it can carry the process of transcription. Hence, this is a major site, what is called as the promoter site. Okay. See, in eukaryotes, the promoter site that consists of TAT, that is Tata box, AA. Okay. In eukaryotes, the promoter site that is rich with Tata box. Okay. See, what is this Tata box? Tata box is nothing but this is a region on the DNA. There are some specific sites on the DNA which are enriched with thymine and adenine. See here in TATA, the T stands for thymine. It stands for thymine, and whereas the A stands for adenine. T stands for thymine and A that stands for adenine. Okay. So there are some regions in the DNA, the specific sites on the DNA which are rich with TATA, and especially the promoter site on the DNA. What is a promoter site here? A promoter site is nothing but the site on the DNA which provides a binding site for the regions on the DNA that provides a binding site for the RNA polymerase enzyme. Okay, so this is an enzyme that carry out the process what is called as a transcription. Okay, and that they are rich with the TATA box. Is rich with the TATA, means thymine and adenine. What is the reason why only thymine and adenine present in that site? The major reason, you know that it is very simple. Thymine and adenine, the hydrogen bonds between thymine and adenine, there are two now. Adenine and thymine, they are bounded with the two hydrogen bonds when compared with the three hydrogen bonds between cytosine and guanine, isn't it? So see here, it is very easy to break down the two bonds when compared with the three bonds. So breaking the bonds between C and G, it is slightly difficult. But breaking the bond between thymine and adenine, it is very easier. To initiate the process of transcription, where there are some specific sites on the DNA, so first it should open up. The DNA strand that should unwind. Okay. So to make the process unwinding very easily, those regions on the DNA which are rich with thymine and adenine, and that is what is called as TATA box. Okay, and that TATA box is majorly that is rich with the thymine and adenine. The major reason is the bond between them. The thymine and adenine, they possess two hydrogen bonds. So as you know that, it is easy to melt the two hydrogen bonds, and it is easy to break down the two hydrogen bonds when compared to the three bonds. Okay, so it is slightly difficult breaking the bond between thymine, cytosine and guanine. So as the two bonds present between adenine and thymine, it is easier to make the DNA unwind. See, before to initiate the transcription or a replication, the DNA has to unwind first. You know that DNA is a coiled molecule, isn't it? It is coiled in right-handed direction. So before to initiate or before to start the process of transcription or a replication, so where the DNA has to unwind. But we are not talking about promoter and TATA box in case of the replication process. Promoter, it is a site on the DNA that runs or that promoting the process of transcription. That's why it is named as a promoter. It promotes the process of transcription, those regions on the DNA, that is what is called as the promoter site. Okay. And suppose if we mark here with the 5' and the 3' end of the DNA, no, the regions towards the 5' end of the DNA, towards the 5' end, this region is what is called as the upstream. Remember, the region towards the 5' end of the DNA, the sequences towards the 5' end of the DNA, that is what is called as the upstream, and those regions towards the 3' end of the DNA, that is what is called as the downstream. From the site of, see, this is a starting site here, this is the initiator site from where the process of transcription that is initiated. So from the starting point or from the initiator site, the TATA box that is located about 25 nucleotides upstream. About 25 nucleotides upstream. Upstream means towards this. So that is towards the 5' end of the DNA. Okay. So where the next regions, that is towards the regions which are towards the 3' end, and they were what is called as a downstream. There are two regions. Remember, there are two regions. One is an upstream, that is towards the 5' end, and the downstream, that is towards the 3' end. Whereas this is what is called as a promoter. and where that consists of the region that is what is called as a TATAT box, TATAT, like that. Okay, so I said the reason why it is rich with the thymine and adenine. Okay, so throughout the course of evolution, that region is retained. Okay, the TATAT region that is retained in the DNA, that is throughout the course of evolution. Okay, because the major reason is it will be helpful for unwinding of the DNA to initiate the process of transcription. Okay, so that is what is called as a TATA box, and along with this TATA box, as I said earlier, the TBP. What is TBP here? TBP is nothing but the Tata box binding protein. Tata box binding proteins, TBP. Okay, so the TBP along with plus transcription factors, TF. TF here stands for transcription factor. Transcription factor along with the TBP, that is Tata box binding protein, along with them together, they binds here, that is towards to this region, they binds to this region, and that causes the unwinding of DNA. So where that results in unwinding of DNA, where it produces along with what? The Tata box binding proteins, then transcription factors. Okay, TF stands for transcriptional factors. Along with that causes the unwinding of DNA, and that results in the formation of the loops or bubbles like this. In DNA, it results in unwinding, and that results in the formation of a bubble or a loop. These kinds of structures which are produced, and this bubble or a loop is what is called as a transcriptional bubble. Transcriptional bubble. Transcriptional bubble. Transcription or loop, that is what is called as a transcriptional bubble. Okay. So where here then RNA polymerase which binds, and that results in the synthesis of formation of mRNA in 5' to 3' direction on a template strand, that is what is called as 3' to 5' template strand. Okay, so hence an mRNA molecule is synthesized on these particular regions. Okay, so this is about the Tata box and the promoter site. What is a promoter site? The specific sites on the DNA which promotes the synthesis of mRNA. Okay, there are very important sites like promoter site, then coding sites, then terminator sites. So, and this is a starting site, this is an initiator site. Okay, this is the starting site, and that is located starting site. Okay, so these regions, the 5' towards the 5' end, this is what is called as upstream, and towards the 3' end, this is what is called as the downstream, and 25 nucleotides away from the TATA site or promoter site, then initiator site is located. So where here with the Tata box binding proteins and transcriptional factors, they are nothing but the proteins, transcriptional factors, and RNA polymerase enzyme that binds to the promoter site, all of those they together causing the DNA to unwind, and that causes a bubble, that is what is called as a transcriptional bubble or a transcriptional loop. So then once it reaches the initiator site, the RNA polymerase enzyme that goes on adding the ribonucleotides from that point up to it reaches the terminator site, that is towards the downstream. Up to it reaches the terminator site, goes on adding the nucleotides, that is ribonucleotides, not the deoxyribonucleotides, it is ribonucleotides. So then a molecule of mRNA is synthesized. Okay. So then when it comes to RNA polymerase, this is an enzyme, it is said to be a DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme, major enzyme involved in the process of transcription. And this enzyme requires a factor, that is what is called as a sigma factor. Sigma factor. It requires a factor, what is called as a sigma factor. When sigma factor that binds with the RNA polymerase enzyme, when it binds with RNA polymerase, then only the RNA polymerase is considered as a holo enzyme. You remember the term holo enzyme. Okay, holo enzyme, that is the only form of enzyme which is biologically active. You heard about the cofactors and coenzymes, no? When that is a protein molecule, an enzyme that is having, or a protein is having the two parts. One is a prosthetic part and another one is the protein part. That is nothing but the apoenzyme, a prosthetic group and the apoenzyme. So the prosthetic group, that may be the inorganic factor or it may be the organic molecule. So it may be a coenzyme or it may be a cofactor. So then only when the prosthetic group that binds with the apoenzyme, then it forms a holo enzyme. Similarly, RNA polymerase enzyme that depends on a factor, what is called as the sigma factor. When the sigma factor that binds with the RNA polymerase enzyme, the RNA polymerase enzyme that will become the holo enzyme, and that is a biological active form of this enzyme. Hence, sigma factor is very much necessary to initiate the process of transcription. Once it comes and binds with the RNA polymerase, then RNA polymerase enzyme becomes a holo enzyme, then it carry the process of transcription. Okay, so that is also a very important thing here. Okay, so let us begin with the, as I said, the three steps in the transcription process, like initiation and termination. So first one is initiation. So later we discuss about the termination. Okay, initiation steps. See, the process of initiation that takes place with the binding of the RNA polymerase enzyme to the specific sites on the DNA, and those sites are what is called as the promoter sites. So as I said, promoter site that consists of TATAT, that is starter box, okay, where it is rich with the thymine and the adenine. So where an enzyme that what is called RNA polymerase enzyme, DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme, that will bind to specific sites on the DNA, that is what is called as a promoter site. That is the promoter site, because it provides a site for binding of RNA polymerase enzyme. Okay, so to which the RNA polymerase enzyme that binds, and where here the another important thing, the structural genes. The structural genes. So these are very important because these are expressing and they are coding for the synthesis of an mRNA molecule. So where these genes are copied to an mRNA molecule. Okay, so those genes are very important. They are what is called as the structural genes. Okay, so promoter that binds to the specific sites, that is what is called as the RNA polymerase enzyme that is bind to specific sites, and those sites are what is called as the promoter sites, and along with that RNA polymerase enzyme that get bind with the sigma factor. It binds with the sigma factor, then it is said to be the holo enzyme. Okay, so then it causes, along with the initiation, I'm talking about the initiation process, along with the transcriptional factors, and along with Tata box binding protein all together and RNA polymerase enzyme together, they causes the melting of hydrogen bonds in the DNA, and as I said, it results in the formation of a bubble, a transcriptional bubble or a transcriptional loop can be seen. A transcriptional bubble or a transcriptional loop that can be seen because of unwinding of the DNA. So where we can see here the core enzyme or the holo enzyme, the RNA polymerase, along with some other molecules like transcription binding TBP, that is transcriptional binding protein, and this is RNA polymerase enzyme, and along with some other proteins what is called as transcriptional factors, all together transcriptional factors TF all together causes unwinding of the DNA, and this is what is called as the transcriptional bubble. Transcriptional bubble. Okay, so this is very important here because the two strands of the DNA they get separated. Okay, and this induces a loop-like structure and a bubble-like structure, that is what is called as a transcriptional bubble. Then the RNA polymerase enzyme, and this is ATP dependent. It requires metabolic energy in the form of triphosphates. It is ATP dependent. It requires metabolic energy in the form of triphosphates. Then the RNA polymerase enzyme that starts synthesizing. It starts synthesizing once it reaches the starting site, on the DNA. I have written it earlier. So once it reaches that starting site, it goes on synthesizing, it goes on adding the nucleotides, especially the ribonucleotides. Okay, so where it is moving in the direction that is 5' to 3' direction. Okay, on the template strand that is 3' to 5' template strand. Okay, gradually that goes on adding the nucleotides one by one, especially the RNA nucleotides. Remember, in RNA there is no thymine. Instead of thymine, there will be an uracil molecule that can be seen in RNA. So where it goes on adding the ribonucleotides, RNA nucleotides. Hence, a long chain of RNA is synthesized, and that process is what is called as the elongation. So you see, during the in initiation step, to the promoter site, RNA polymerase enzyme and transcriptional TATA box binding protein, Tata box binding protein, and transcriptional factors, all of those molecules which binds to DNA and where causes the unwinding of DNA that results in the formation of a transcriptional bubble. That is the process of initiation. So once it reaches, the starting point or the initiation point on the DNA, where the RNA polymerase enzyme that causes the addition of nucleotides, the ribonucleotides, that process is what is called as the elongation. Okay. See, during the process of elongation, the long stretch of RNA that is going to produce like this. Okay, so where the nucleotides which are goes on adding, so where RNA is synthesized in the direction of, that is 5' to 3' direction, like this, a long chain of RNA that is synthesizing here, and this is what is called as, this is an mRNA, is nothing but, this is an mRNA, and this is what is called as the antisense strand, and this is actually the template, isn't it? Remember, this is actually the template, this is template strand, and this is what is called as the sense strand, or this is the coding strand. This do not code, this do not act as a template for the synthesis of mRNA, and this is an mRNA molecule that is synthesizing here. So where RNA polymerase enzyme that moves along and that adds up the nucleotides. What nucleotides? Ribonucleotides. Hence a long stretch of RNA is synthesized, and that process is what is regarded as the process what is called as the elongation process. A stretch of RNA is produced, and that step is what is called as the elongation. Okay. So continuously the nucleotides which are added, and the length of the mRNA that starts increasing, and that process is what is regarded as the process called as elongation. Okay. Okay, so and that step is what is called as the elongation process. Okay. Hence a one stretch or a long stretch of mRNA molecule that is synthesized. Okay, on a template strand. So the template strand, remember, that is nothing but the antisense strand here. Okay. So then the next step is about the termination process. See, termination process, it is said to be of different kinds. Here the termination factors which are involved, they are again nothing but the proteins which are involved in the termination. Once one stretch of mRNA is synthesized, you know about the definite number of bases on the mRNA. Remember, definite number of bases can be seen on the mRNA. So once it reaches, you know, on where it reaches some specific sites on the DNA, then the process of transcription that is terminated. Okay. And termination is nothing but, it is the end of transcription. When the RNA polymerase enzyme, when it reaches to some specific sites on the DNA, the process of transcription will be terminated. It will be end. So where there are some proteins which are necessary here, that is termination factors, TF. And the transcription factors here, they are terminating factors. Terminating factors are also nothing but some proteins which are involved in the process of termination, terminating factors. And also, and very important thing here, the Rho factor. Rho, this is also a molecule, a factor that is responsible for termination. That is what is called as a Rho factor. So when Rho factor is involved in the process of termination, that kind of termination is said to be Rho dependent termination. When Rho factor is involved in the termination process, that is said to be Rho dependent. When Rho is not involved in the process of termination, it is said to be Rho independent termination. So, but terminating factors and Rho factors, they majorly contribute for the process of termination. So once RNA polymerase enzyme reaches some specific sites on the DNA, it further do not code. Okay, specific sites on the DNA. So where the process of transcription, that will be terminated by terminating factors and Rho factors. If Rho factor is involved, that is called as a Rho dependent termination. If Rho is not involved, sometimes it may take place without the involvement of Rho also. Rho is not involved, that is what is called as a Rho independent termination. So then at that time, during the termination, the sigma factor is dissociates. The sigma factor from the RNA polymerase enzyme, remember, sigma is very important to act RNA polymerase as a holoenzyme. When sigma factor dissociates from the RNA polymerase enzyme, so then RNA polymerase again becomes an apoenzyme. It cannot carry out the process of transcription. Then RNA polymerase also dissociates from the DNA. It gets separated from the DNA. All those molecules which are together forming the mechanism what is called as a termination. Terminating factors, Rho factors, and the sigma factor get dissociating from the RNA polymerase enzyme. Hence it cannot carry out the further process of transcription. Then the process of transcription will be said to be terminated. Okay, so there is a definite length of mRNA that is synthesized, and that what is called that mRNA, it is a precursor molecule of mRNA, that is not actually the processed mRNA, and that is what is called as the HN mRNA, that is heteronuclear mRNA. Because there are lots of processes to be taken place, especially I am talking about the eukaryote, the transcription in eukaryotes. Lots of processes to be taken place like capping, polyadenylation, then removal of introns, all those mechanisms to be taken place. And this is a precursor mRNA molecule. Remember, the precursor mRNA molecule that is synthesized here, not the modified or a processed mRNA. Hence, that precursor mRNA is what is called as just like a raw mRNA. Okay, that is what is called as hnRNA, hnmRNA. hnmRNA is nothing but heteronuclear mRNA. Okay, where then the next process comes. Okay, especially in case of eukaryotes. See, the processes like in eukaryotes, the modification of mRNA in eukaryotes, all those processes together, what is called as post-transcriptional modification. See, this is very important here for examination also. Post-transcriptional modifications. So, very important processes which takes place after the synthesis of an mRNA, that is what is called as a post-transcriptional modifications. See, the post-transcriptional modification that includes the phases like capping, then it includes the phases like RNA splicing, then the other very important process what is called as addition of polyatyl or adenylation, that is what is called as the adenylation. So these are the three major mechanisms that takes place after the formation of mRNA. It means before the releasing of mRNA into the new cytoplasm. Okay, before mRNA releasing into the cytoplasm. Okay, so before mRNA that is releasing into the cytoplasm, no, all these modifications that has to take place, especially in eukaryotes. Remember, whereas in case of prokaryotes, the DNA as it is found naked in the cytoplasm, no, simultaneously the mRNA is synthesized. It means the DNA is transcribed, then mRNA molecule is synthesized. Once it starts liberating from the DNA, simultaneously the ribosomes will bind and the translation is also initiated. Because there is no that much of modification in mRNA, whereas in case of the prokaryotes, directly it is involved in the process what is called as translation. But what happens in eukaryotes, no, the mRNA is synthesized inside the nucleus, because as DNA is located inside the nucleus, then mRNA is also synthesized inside the nucleus. That's why it is said to be the early mRNA, the precursor, what is called as heteronuclear mRNA. Okay, that heteronuclear mRNA, it should be processed before releasing into the cytoplasm, because the site of protein synthesis, no, the translation is cytoplasm. The major reason is because the ribosomes are found in the cytoplasm and tRNA is also found in the cytoplasm. Then amino acids, they are in the cytoplasm. For that reason, the mRNA has to transport it out of the nucleus. Before releasing of mRNA into the cytoplasm, the mRNA has to be modified. And all those together modifications which are together called as post-transcriptional modifications. Okay, so that post-transcriptional modification that involves the several phases like capping, RNA splicing and polyadenylate addition of polyadenylate, that is what is called as adenylation. Okay, you remember the structure of mRNA, just remember. See, the 3' end of the mRNA, the 3' end that consists of a base what is called as 7-methyl-guanosine. Isn't it? What is capping here? The capping is nothing but the addition of methylated guanosine, 7-methyl-guanosine. What is capping? Capping is a process, is nothing but addition of methylated, means methyl group has added to guanine, methylated guanosine to the 3' end of the mRNA. That process is what is called as a capping, and this region is what is known as a cap. No, the addition of methylated guanosine to the 3' end of the mRNA, and that is what is called as a capping, and that region of mRNA is what is called as a cap. The reason is addition of capping, it protects the mRNA from degradation activity. There are some nucleases, you know, like exonucleases enzyme and endonucleases enzyme, so which can degrade the mRNA. But to prevent the degradation of the mRNA, 7-methyl-guanosine means the methylated guanosine is added to the 3' end. That protects the mRNA from degradation. Okay, remember. And that process is what is called as a capping. And I will come to RNA splicing later. Then what is this polyadenylation? Okay, that is nothing but addition of adenine, many residues of adenine, many number of adenine to 5' end of the mRNA. That is what is called as polyadenylation. Okay, so addition of many number of adenine groups to the 5' end of the mRNA, that is what is called as polyadenylation process. So this is also a mechanism that to prevent the mRNA from degradation, especially from the activities of exonucleases. Okay, so where the mRNA molecule that should be protected from degradation by the activities of exonucleases. For that reason, the polyadenylation tail that will be added. So many number of adenine units will be added to the 5' end of the mRNA, and that step is what is called as polyadenylation. Okay, and where comes a very important step, what is called as RNA splicing. See, RNA splicing is nothing but it is a process of removal of introns from the mRNA. What is RNA splicing? RNA splicing is nothing but it is a process of removal of introns. Removal of introns are non-coding sequences. Introns are non-coding sequences, because you know the eukaryotic DNA that is mixed with euchromatin and heterochromatin. Remember, the chromatin, there are two regions in the chromatin, one is an euchromatin and another one is a heterochromatin. So euchromatin is nothing but the transcriptionally active regions are lightly stained areas on the DNA, and they are also known as the exons, whereas the heterochromatin is nothing but the introns which do not specify any amino acid, which do not code for any amino acid, it means it do not code for any protein. Hence, the mRNA, the hnRNA, you know, the heteronuclear RNA or the heteronuclear mRNA that is produced inside the nucleus, the precursor mRNA molecule that consists of both the introns as well as the exons. That consists of both the introns as well as the exons. Okay, suppose if this is an mRNA molecule, no, that possess both the introns as well as exons. So what happens here? The introns that has to be removed. Okay, suppose these are the introns, no, intron, and this is the intron, and this is the exon, and this one is also the exon. Okay, the introns that has to be removed and the exons should join up. The introns were removed and the exons will join up. Okay, so that is what is regarded as the RNA splicing, removal of introns from, because they do not specify any protein, the removal of introns from the hnRNA, that is heteronuclear mRNA, that process is what is called as RNA splicing. Here the protein molecules, there are very important protein molecules, that is smaller nuclear RNA proteins, small nuclear RNA proteins which are involved here, and these small nuclear RNA proteins which causes a removal of introns, and there are some other proteins which all together, the heteronuclear mRNA, the protein, especially the SN small nuclear RNA proteins. Okay, so small nuclear RNA proteins and other molecules which together forming the complex what is called as a spliceosome. Spliceosome. Okay, all together the hnRNA, then small nuclear RNA proteins, then other protein molecule together forming the complex what is called as spliceosome. And this spliceosome that removes the introns from the hnRNA, and a processed mRNA will be released into the cytoplasm. The processed mRNA will be released into cytoplasm. Of course, the length of the mRNA that will be decreased after the processing. Why it is decreased? Because the introns were removed, you know. So then the processed mRNA only that will releases. Okay. So this is, now it is regarded as an mRNA. It's considered as an mRNA with a cap at the 3' end, with the polyatyl at the 5' end, and all those regions which mainly consist of the coding sequences, and here again there will be a terminator in mRNA also. There will be a terminator because the protein synthesis, the length of the protein is also depends. The number of amino acids is also depends on the mRNA molecule. Hence, in a particular protein, the amino acids will be determined, will be particular. Hence, there will be a terminator on the mRNA also. Okay, so this process is what is called as post-transcriptional modifications, like capping, polyadenylation, then RNA splicing. Okay, all together, and this may especially that takes place in eukaryotic organisms. Okay, and this is about the process of transcription. Okay, so if you have any doubts, please feel free to ask your doubts. Okay, and one major question will be asked about this concept, that is about the RNA polymerase enzyme in eukaryotes. It has asked for 3 marks twice. RNA polymerase enzyme in eukaryotes. See, the question is like this: RNA polymerase enzyme in eukaryotes that shows division of labor. Justify or give reason. RNA polymerase in eukaryotes. You can see the question paper. It has asked twice or thrice. RNA polymerase enzyme in eukaryotes that shows division of labor. It means the distribution of work. Justified. Okay. The reason is there are three kinds of RNA polymerase enzyme can be seen in eukaryotes. That is RNA polymerase 1, then RNA polymerase 2, and another one RNA polymerase 3. Okay, see all these RNA polymerase enzymes, they have different work. The work is distributed between them, between all the three different RNA polymerase 1, RNA polymerase 2, and RNA polymerase 3. The work has been distributed here. That's it. That's why it is said to be division of labor. Labor nothing but the work. So what is the work that has distributed to these three RNA polymerase enzyme? Whereas RNA polymerase 1 enzyme, that is majorly involved in the synthesis of rRNA, that is ribosomal RNA. RNA polymerase 1 enzyme that is majorly involved in the synthesis of ribosomal RNA. But there is no such distribution of labor in case of prokaryotes. But whereas in eukaryotes, the work or the labor that has been distributed to three different RNA polymerase enzyme like polymerase 1, polymerase 2, and polymerase 3. Among that, polymerase 1 enzyme, RNA polymerase 1, that is involved in the transcription of ribosomal RNA. Okay. Then polymerase 2 enzyme that is involved in the synthesis of hnRNA. hnRNA, that is nothing but the heteronuclear RNA or the mRNA precursor. Okay. Whereas the RNA polymerase 3 enzyme, this is an enzyme involved in the synthesis of tRNA and snRNA, small nuclear RNA, tRNA and small nuclear RNA. Okay, so that is the function of RNA polymerase 3. RNA polymerase 3 transcribes tRNA and small nuclear RNA, whereas RNA polymerase 2 involved in the synthesis of hnRNA, that is heteronuclear RNA, and whereas RNA polymerase 1, that is involved in the transcription of rRNA. As it shows the distribution of work. The three enzymes, they have got the equal work here, the distribution of work. Hence, the RNA polymerase enzyme in eukaryotes, that shows division of labor. Okay, so this question has twice or thrice in the examination. Okay, so this is also a very important one. Okay, so this is all about the process of transcription. Okay, so in next video, I will explain about the next step in protein synthesis, that is the translation mechanism. Okay. So how amino acids get converted into protein, so that we will discuss in the next video. Okay, thank you.